If you feel like there are too many coaches in the world, you're not alone. When I started as a coach, I started as a business coach. As I was moving into the career of business coaching, I was going to events where the companies I wanted to work with would really be there. And as I would go into these conferences, I would constantly meet people who were in the same field, who were coaches, who were consultants, and who were helping businesses, who were in the field of education. And I would see they were older than me. They seemed smarter than me. They seemed more educated than me. They had more testimonials than I had, more charisma than I had. So I felt defeated every single time I would go into these conversations. I would feel like I can't possibly be successful in this field. I am nobody. I'm a kid from India who has an accent. Who is going to respect what I have to say? Who is going to even listen? Who is even going to care? And so I often would feel so defeated as I would end my prospecting. And that narrative that constantly told me how I'm not going to get ahead, or there are too many coaches, other people are more successful than I am, that really pushed me back by months, maybe even years of my success, because I started to take action from this unconfident, low self-worth space. I would underprice myself. I would try to undercut somebody else's offer. I would try to really discount. I would try to add so many bonuses every single time I was enrolling because I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think I was able to actually get ahead in this field because I thought there were other people that were so much better than me. And that was a place that was not very good for me as a new coach to really lean into. Fortunately, my mind has always given me that place to say, hey, stop, let's think about this for a second. I love solving problems. And so I started to reframe some of the things in some of the ways that I was approaching the business. The first thing that one must notice is a lot of the times we as coaches look at qualitative data and not quantitative data. Let me explain. What would happen is, because we're in the bubble of talking to other coaches, what would happen, or meeting other coaches at events that are similar enrollment places for us, the other coaches are also enrolling at the same place. So what tends to happen, we look at all these coaches and we go, oh my God, there are too many coaches. And that tends to become like this big deal in our head, because in the small concentration, the small island of that event, we met maybe 100 coaches in a 500-person event. We go, oh my God, 1 to 5, that's a terrible ratio of coaching. We start to believe that's the truth of the world. And that's not true. That's called qualitative data. Quantitative data is when you take the absolute number or the real number of opportunity and then you compare it to the number of coaches in the world. Let's hypothesize and let's assume that we have 200,000 coaches that are in the world, active coaches, the people who are actually going out, doing the work, getting clients, working with the clients. I don't think it's even 200,000, but let's assume they're 200,000, right? 200,000 active coaches. Now let's assume there is another 300,000 that are looking to create clients, right? So that's 500,000 people, right? Let me give you some data points that might change the way that you think, even if you believed that there were 500,000 active coaches or coaches that want to be active today, right? 500,000, that's a big number, right? How many small businesses are there in the world? If you had to take a wild guess in your mind as I speak, what would that number be? You might think, well, there might be 2 million active businesses, 10 million active businesses, 100 million small businesses, and only 500,000 coaches. That already looks like pretty good, right? The actual data of small and mid-sized companies in the world is 332 million. This doesn't even include the large organizations. I'm talking about small and mid-sized companies that are doing anywhere between 6 figures to doing 50 million, even 100 million. There are 332 million organizations like that. Even if all 500,000 coaches that we assume that were there in the world, even if we assume all those 500,000 coaches were business coaches, there's still more businesses to go around. There is more than 600 businesses that a business coach can target before they start saying, oh, I've exhausted the market. 600 businesses. And this is assuming all 500,000 were just business coaches, which is not true, of course, right? 332 million companies, and you need to work with 600 clients for you to say, I think I've saturated the market, or there are too many coaches. 600 clients. Suddenly thinking about the quantity changes your narrative. You go, oh my God, I haven't even approached 600 people, right? But that's not all. Let's say you're a well-being coach. You say, hey, listen, I'm in wellness, Ajit. Do you know what percentage of Americans, this is all database, by the way, you can Google it. What percentage of Americans live a healthy lifestyle? Only 3% of Americans, 3% of Americans live a healthy lifestyle. 97% of America lives an unhealthy lifestyle. That tells you that as a health coach, you have 97% of America that you could potentially target if you were a health and well-being coach. And that's not all. If you look at the setup of how many people report stress and anxiety on a daily basis, 52% of Americans report stress and anxiety on a daily basis. And it is not much lesser if you look at globally. The global average of people reporting stress and anxiety on a daily basis is 35%. 35% of the world could be using a life coach. So theoretically, coaching is actually being needed a lot more than it has ever been needed before because of how the world is changing. So you could be a life coach, a health coach, a business coach, whatever kind of coach. Think about the size of opportunity that is available in the market for you to serve. Not the coach that you met at a small event and the 10 or the 50 or the 100, even if there were 500, heck, even if there were 2,000 coaches in that room, it's still not enough people. If there were 10,000 coaches in the room, there's still not enough coaches in the world. If there were 50,000 coaches in the room, there's still not enough coaches in the room for you to go, oh, there's too many coaches in the world. Another way that you want to think about, are there too many coaches, is if you're seeing coaching becoming more stream, more popular, if you're seeing big time coaches coming up and you're going, wow, another big coach and they're selling millions and millions in sales, that's actually great news. That means if that guy, that girl can be so successful, there is a huge market they're not able to serve. And let's be real, it's true for me. I was able to serve my clients so much more deeply when I was new as a coach. When I was coaching small businesses, I would be so helpful. I would be with them. I would be so personalized. Everything was so custom. But then there was a point where I just couldn't do that. So what did I do? I took all those systems, all those strategies, and made Certified Business Coach. So other people can deploy it to other businesses. But that does mean that I am out of that market. That does mean that I am not serving my clients to as much detail, that I actually don't even take more clients. I only serve my clients that have already worked with me for a certain period of time. Because guess what? When a coach matures, that's what happens. When you are able to serve at masses, you cannot serve the classes. And that's exactly where you step in. You can serve the classes. So yes, if you hear the big noise, the big coach, the big this, that actually is telling you that there's more people looking for personalization. There are more people who want more support. There's more acceptance in the market. So no, just because you're seeing more famous coaches, that has no correlation to are there more coaches. If anything, it only means there's a bigger market to be served. So when you look at somebody that seems like, wow, they're so successful, they're so big, I'm behind, don't think that. Think, this person's creating the market for me. This opportunity is for me. And so you can then get out of that frame of thinking, oh, I am behind. Oh, I am too late to this market, or I can't really be successful at this point, because that's just not true. And also note that there's a distinction between acceptance and impact. Just because you're more accepted because you have a bigger following doesn't mean you're making a bigger impact. A social media influencer that might get a lot of likes and follows and shares and all of that may be getting more acceptance as a mainstream idea, but that doesn't always mean that they're making a deeper impact with the person. So my invitation for you is to consider, are you in the game of acceptance or the game of impact? Because if you're in the game of acceptance, yes, you may struggle as you compare yourself to the next big coach, but if you're in the game of impact, which I think you are in, you might wonder how you can go deep with 1, 2, 5, 10, 15 people. And now you're playing a completely different game than that big influencer. You're not in the game of acceptance, you're in the game of impact. So at this point, I hope I have been able to convince you that there are not too many coaches in the world and you are absolutely needed as a coach. There's too much opportunity, there are too many problems that we need to solve as society, and you as a coach, my friend, can really, really help.